What's up, guys? I'm DK, and you're watching Pro Wrestling What If, the series where I look at the different what if scenarios as terms of the world that we call professional wrestling. Muhammad Hassan had made his WWE debut in December of 2004 alongside his manager Daivari as a part of the Raw brand. He'd be portrayed as an Arab American who believes to be treated poorly due to the events that took place on September 11th, 2001. He would begin an undefeated streak and defeat the likes of Jerry the King Lawler, Hurricane, and Val Venus before being unsuccessful at winning the 2005 Royal Rumble match. He appeared at WrestleMania 21 where he attacked and applied the camel clutch on Eugene before Hulk Hogan came in to save the day. This led to a tag team match at Backlash 2005 with Muhammad Hassan and Daivari taking on Shawn Michaels and Hulk Hogan, with Hulk Hogan and Shawn Michaels picking up the victory. Soon after, Muhammad Hassan would be sent to SmackDown as a part of the 2005 WWE Draft and would be set for a huge main event push as he begins a rivalry with The Undertaker. On the July 7, 2005 episode of SmackDown, one of the most controversial segments had taken place, with multiple masked men attacking The Undertaker and choking him out. Before SmackDown went on the air, real-life events had taken place when a terrorist attack happened in London, England, and WWE chose to still air the segment. WWE would end up receiving lots of backlash from various news outlets, with SmackDown's home at the time, UPN, even requesting to no longer have Muhammad Hassan appear on their programming. This resulted in Undertaker defeating Muhammad Hassan in their match at the Great American Bash and giving him a last ride through the stage to write him off, and he would never be seen again on WWE television. It's been 20 years now that this incident had occurred, and it's made us wonder all these years of how the run would have turned out had Muhammad Hassan gotten his push in 2005. So that's going to be the topic of today's video. We're discussing what if Muhammad Hassan had got his push in 2005. For this video, we will be going on a pay-per-view by pay-per-view basis, but I do want to mention that we have to go into the mindset that that segment that did happen on that episode of SmackDown does not occur for this scenario to have actually made sense. And if you end up enjoying this video, don't forget to hit that like button, share this to all your friends, subscribe, and press the notification bell for when future episodes get released, and leave a comment down below about today's topic or suggesting a future topic for an episode of Pro Wrestling What If. So we're going to be kicking off with SummerSlam, where Muhammad Hassan would challenge Batista for the World Heavyweight Championship. At the Great American Bash, Muhammad Hassan and Undertaker's match was to determine the #1 contender for the World Heavyweight Championship. Although Undertaker had won that match, it was originally going to be Muhammad Hassan to win the match, considering Undertaker was going to continue his WrestleMania rivalry with Randy Orton for SummerSlam. With the controversy involving Hassan, WWE had to pivot a different direction by having JBL defeat Undertaker and take his opportunity to fill that spot meant for Muhammad Hassan at SummerSlam. When it came to JBL and Batista's match at the Great American Bash, I believe it was originally going to be that match with a definitive finish instead of ending in a disqualification. When it comes to SummerSlam, Muhammad Hassan was going to defeat Batista and become the new World Heavyweight Champion. The idea behind this would be for the Arab American to win the title in the US capital of Washington, DC, while at the same time dethroning Batista as champion in his hometown, giving Hassan even more heat than he was already getting and cementing himself as the top heel of the entire WWE now that he has the World Heavyweight Championship. Of course, Batista wouldn't have lost it clean, but rather some sort of dirty finish for a title change to happen. The next event was No Mercy, where I think we would have a triple threat match with Batista, Eddie Guerrero, and the reigning champion Muhammad Hassan for the World Heavyweight Championship. In the real timeline, Batista defended the World Heavyweight Championship against Eddie Guerrero at the event, with Batista retaining the title. Now, with Muhammad Hassan still with the WWE at this point and the SmackDown roster not being as big as Raw, I think that a triple threat match would make sense. Undertaker would have been a great option for a challenger here, but he was in the middle of the rivalry with Randy Orton at that point, especially since Randy Orton injured his shoulder shortly after WrestleMania 21 and felt they would have had a match at had Great American Bash had he not gotten injured. The triple threat match would be a way to have Muhammad Hassan retain the World Heavyweight Championship without the top babyface of SmackDown Batista taking the fall in the match. Eddie Guerrero had lost in the singles match he had with Batista, so he would have been used as the fall guy for this match. Eddie Guerrero was already transitioning into a babyface at this point during the feud with Batista, so this would have likely placed him as the next challenger for Muhammad Hassan. Unfortunately for this rivalry, we know what happens on the road to the next pay-per-view. The next pay-per-view being Survivor Series, where I think Muhammad Hassan would have defended the World Heavyweight Championship against Chris Benoit. Like I mentioned, I think Eddie Guerrero would have been the next challenger for Muhammad Hassan. However, Eddie Guerrero would unfortunately pass away on November 13th, 2005, so plans for this match would have been scrapped. After WWE has the Eddie Guerrero tribute shows on Raw and SmackDown, Chris Benoit and Booker T would have a match the following week to determine Muhammad Hassan's new opponent for Survivor Series. This would have been the same night where they had the United States Championship match ending in a no contest, but for this non-title match, Chris Benoit would have defeated Booker T. Chris Benoit defeats Muhammad Hassan in their match at Survivor Series, but only via a disqualification. The main event is still the Raw vs. SmackDown Survivor Series elimination match that is regarded as one of the best in the event's history, still ending off the night on a good note with the memorable moment of Team SmackDown celebrating with Randy Orton being lifted up, followed by the gong and the epic return of The Undertaker coming out of the flaming casket. The next event would be Armageddon, where once again Muhammad Hassan would defend the World Heavyweight Championship against Chris Benoit. After the match at Survivor Series had ended in a disqualification, the feud would continue between Benoit and Hassan. So due to this happening, this means that the best of 7 series that happened with Booker T over the United States Championship doesn't occur in this timeline. The story is there for Chris Benoit to try and win the World Heavyweight Championship in memory of Eddie Guerrero, being best friends with Eddie Guerrero dating back to WCW and even sharing that moment at WrestleMania 20 with both of them having world championships. As much as it would make sense for Chris Benoit to become champion here, he unfortunately doesn't get to do that. WWE already gave Chris Benoit a run at the World Heavyweight Championship, and I don't think there would have been plans to do it again. Especially when Batista got injured in 2006, they had Kurt Angle come from Raw to win the World Heavyweight Championship instead of someone on their own brand. This match at the end of the day would have been done due to Eddie Guerrero's passing, and it would have been a pivot in storylines. Shoutout goes to Jackson Weingart, Jada Sanchez, Fox Starkiller, Lola Pines, Hayden Serravo, Skullchin, Wesley Conklin, Spidey Fan Productions 2003, Mr. Randomizer, T-Dog, and The Real Samuel Randall 1990. And the reason that they ended up getting a shoutout is because they joined our YouTube channel membership, which only cost $1.99 a month. Not only do you get the shoutout, but you do get lots of other perks, including early access to every single video and shorts that we produce on this channel. So definitely consider joining our YouTube channel membership. It will be greatly appreciated and it will go a long way of helping out this channel a lot. So definitely consider it, but let's get right back to the video. The next event would have been Royal Rumble, where Muhammad Hassan would defend the World Heavyweight Championship against Batista. Batista would win a number 1's contender match on an episode of SmackDown to get himself another opportunity at the World Heavyweight Championship. Although Batista was already in 2 pay-per-view matches with Hassan in this timeline, let's not forget that he was also not pinned in that triple threat match at No Mercy when he lost. A stipulation is placed in the match where if Batista loses, he will never be able to challenge for the World Heavyweight Championship again due to him already having multiple opportunities. Luckily for Batista, he would end up defeating Muhammad Hassan and once again become the World Heavyweight Champion. Although Muhammad Hassan was a heat-seeking magnet and would have made sense for him to go into WrestleMania 22 as champion, I don't think WWE would have wanted him to walk into the event as champion. When it came to the original WrestleMania 22 plans, it was going to be Batista versus Randy Orton for the World Heavyweight Championship at the event, and I think they would have been wanting to do that in this timeline as well. With Batista not in a feud with Mark Henry here like in the real timeline, this means that he wouldn't have ended up injuring his tricep and been able to compete at WrestleMania 22. Next up, we have No Way Out, where Batista would defend his newly won World Heavyweight Championship in a rematch with Muhammad Hassan. Muhammad Hassan would get his rematch for the World Heavyweight Championship at No Way Out, but once again, Batista would defeat him and retain the championship. The match between Rey Mysterio and Randy Orton still occurs in this timeline, with the same result of Randy Orton getting Rey Mysterio's WrestleMania title opportunity he won by winning the Royal Rumble match, still leading to what would end up being the same triple threat match at WrestleMania 22, but with Batista in the place of Kurt Angle. When it comes to Kurt Angle now going into WrestleMania and not being the world champion, I think that his match at the event would have been to do the rematch from WrestleMania 21 with him and Shawn Michaels. And with Muhammad Hassan not in the title picture going into WrestleMania, who would have ended up facing him at the event? Last but not least, WrestleMania 22, where I think Muhammad Hassan would have challenged The Undertaker. After finishing his feud with Randy Orton, Undertaker went into a World Heavyweight Championship program with Kurt Angle going into the No Way Out pay-per-view before going into his WrestleMania feud with the World's Strongest Man, Mark Henry. However, I think after the Hell in a Cell match with Randy Orton at Armageddon, we wouldn't have seen The Undertaker until after No Way Out instead of the main event of Royal Rumble. Although Undertaker would have been a viable option once again to face Muhammad Hassan when it came to Royal Rumble in this timeline, it would unfortunately result in Undertaker losing to him again. WWE didn't want to put a world championship on Undertaker at that time, which is why they had the Kurt Angle Undertaker match take place at No Way Out instead of WrestleMania 22 like it should have been. The reason I think they also set up that match for No Way Out was due to changes made because of Batista's injury and needing to find opponents for Kurt Angle. Now that Batista isn't injured in this timeline due to working with Muhammad Hassan instead of Mark Henry, I think Undertaker wouldn't have been needed to fill that role. The storyline is already there for a Muhammad Hassan Undertaker match due to the match they had at the Great American Bash that in this timeline resulted in Muhammad Hassan winning. After a 5-month reign as world champion and being the top heel of the company, WWE would have given a big match for Muhammad Hassan, especially this being the first WrestleMania match that he has. With Muhammad Hassan having already defeated The Undertaker, would have given him momentum going into the match and believes that he would be able to end the streak. Unfortunately for Hassan, Undertaker would defeat him at WrestleMania 22 and extend the streak to 14-0 in a match that I think would have been better than the one he had with Mark Henry. I'm not sure if this match would have also been a casket match like in the real timeline, but it does seem fitting since I don't think the Muhammad Hassan gimmick would have been able to last much longer. Maybe he's got one run in him to be the United States champion, which actually seemed more fitting for his gimmick to accomplish than the World Championship. But I think the run would have been done either in 2007 or 2008 the latest, knowing that the WWE would soon enter the PG era and the Muhammad Hassan gimmick wouldn't have been able to happen in that era.